Happy Friday, dear friends. One of the most perplexing characters in all of the Torah, Noach, the great hero of this week's Parsha, saved from the flood by God. But Noach is a perplexing and mysterious character for a few reasons. One of them is that the Torah calls Noach a tzaddik, a righteous person. But we know our sages teach us that Noach was mikatne amana. He was somebody who was lacking in faith. That's a strange thing. Noach by the Torah is called a righteous person, and then the sages come along and tell us he was lacking in faith. One second. If you're righteous by definition, doesn't that mean you're not lacking in faith? So the great Hasidic master of Levi Yitzchak of Berditchev explains so beautifully. Of course Noach had faith in God. How could Noach not? God told him, I'm going to destroy the world. And he goes through with the plan, and he tells him to build the ark. Noach builds the ark. What was Noach lacking faith in? Himself. You see, you never hear Noach do anything active in the whole Parsha. God tells Noach, build an ark. Noach says, sure. Great. How big should it be? Great. Here's what happens. God says, go in the ark. Noach goes in the ark. Noach doesn't do anything active. He doesn't do anything to change his scenario, to change his situation for all of the people in the world. Contrast that with our hero Avraham, the great Abraham. God tells him in a very similar sense to Noach. God tells Avraham, I'm going to destroy the land of Sodom. And what is Avraham's reaction to God's pronouncement that he's going to destroy this corrupt and immoral nation? Avraham argues with God. Avraham davens. He prays from the bottom of his heart to try to save Sodom. He doesn't end up saving Sodom, but that's not the point. The point is that Avraham believed in himself, and he believed that he had the power of prayer. He had the power to change his given situation. In 1972, Martin Seligman, the father of positive psychology, coined a term called learned helplessness. Basically, he says that at the bottom of a lot of depression in the world is the idea that we feel that we cannot help ourselves. We can't get out of whatever situation we're in. We're paralyzed. We're paralyzed by that fear, and we just become helpless, and we can't change our lives. Almost like the famous story of the elephant, right? We know that the elephant is tied up by a rope. When the elephant is born, it's tied up by a rope to a fence, and it makes sure that the elephant cannot escape. And the elephant tries, but it can't. And as the elephant gets bigger, we know that the elephant could definitely escape. The elephant weighs literally a ton. But the elephant learned to be helpless from a young age, and it's never able to overcome that. How many of us have ropes that are tying us down, that are making us feel like, oh, I can never overcome this challenge? And not only in terms of changing the world, everybody likes to talk about changing the world like Abraham, like Avraham. What about just changing our own lives? What about changing a character trait? What about taking something? We just recently passed Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. What about something small, like a character trait, like jealousy or anger? Or what about if we don't feel like we're growing in our Torah learning or our mitzvah observance? Could there be something small that we can take to make us feel like I can get out of this? Is there a relationship that's just not going the way that I want it to go, but I know that if I work hard enough, I can actually change it? Don't feel helpless. And as the great Rav Tzadok HaKohen says, just like a person is obligated to believe in God, they are obligated to believe in themselves. And now a message from our very own, the other famous Noach, my son Noach Moss, and his big sister Sarah. Shabbat Shalom, and thank you for listening to the Masorah Minute.